We all know Shadcn, and it is great. Beautiful, easy components just for copy and paste. But Shadcn has one problem. It's missing beautiful variants. For example, the input component. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, clean and simple. But wouldn't it be nice to have more than these 4 or 5 versions and instead have 10, 20, or even 76 input components built with Next.Js and Tailwind CSS? Because there are more use cases than only these on Shadcn. And this is what Origin UI delivers to us. So here we just have a few types of components like input, button, checkbox related stuff, the new select just coming out today, and the slider in development. But each of them has now a lot of variants. So first, let's take a look at the inputs. But don't miss the buttons or even the checkboxes because they are awesome as well. So inputs usually need to solve more than just a field where you can type in stuff like this simple input. Yes, that's useful also, but that's what we already get with Shadcn. But here we got more. And I want to tell you that all the components you can see are actually based on Shadcn. So if you have Shadcn in your project already, this will already work very well. So we have a lot here. To be specific, 76 input components, but let's go through them very quickly. We have very simple ones. Then you have with this end.com, for example, and this is so useful. A lot of input components with buttons, for example, with those things here for numbers. So a lot of things you can do here, and we even have date or time pickers in here. If something can't be accomplished with Shadcn or native stuff, then they took libraries like, for example, React Aria here. Yeah, let me tell you, this looks just awesome. It's all so minimalistic, so you can just copy and paste this in your application. And I will show that to you in a minute, but let's get through this very quickly. Oh, I love this one. This is also very cool. We have Emblor usage. So input with text and input with inner text, all that stuff is very, very great and very, very nice. And a lot of people need that in their projects, but it's not so easy to accomplish without any libraries. So here we just have it. So we can type in colors here, for example, green. This is working so great. And we even have text areas in here. So for example, this text area with an overlapping label looks very good. Then we have a auto-growing text area. So if we type stuff in here, it's automatically growing. But yeah, doing those things on your own takes a lot of time, and we don't have time. We are developers. We want it quick and simple. And that's why we just can go in here. Let's say this import with password strength indicator and just say copy. So let's jump in the code and see how we can implement this. So here we are in the code, very simple project. So we copied it now. So we need to paste it, but where? Let's make a new component. Let's name this component password input.tsx and just paste and see if it's working. And actually it is, no errors, and that's very cool. And that's what I meant here. They are using, for example, input and label for this one from Shadcn directly and are just extending this with more functionality. So let's give this now the same name. So not input 51, this is not the beautiful name, but yeah, just password input, that is enough. Go into the page TSX and implement the password input. And that's all. Let's take a look. So I started the server, the localhost server, and got to the right URL, and there it is. Just beautiful and simple component, a simple password input where we can import stuff. Okay, 1, 2, 3, subscribe me, like that. But oh no, something is missing. When should they subscribe? What is that? 1, 2, 3, subscribe me now? Yes, when should they subscribe? Subscribe now. So let's go down and subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss more videos like that one. But yeah, jokes by side, this is how I just managed to update this thing, because this is very easy. I just added one line, when should they subscribe? And that's how we can, yeah, just extend those things. So it's very easy. This took me 5 seconds to figure out where I should input this because that's on the top directly. Okay, now this was just the input component, and there's even more. We have buttons, and those buttons are unbelievable. And we not only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons, no, you see that here, we have 51 buttons. But then we have more variants here, variants with dropdowns, variants with batches, variants with icons, and even a loading one, which is very cool. Because a loading state is very, very useful, and actually every application needs to have a loading state button because something is always loading. Oh, I love that one. Look at this clean animation, and you can just use that, for example, for a dropdown or for a navbar dropdown, and wow, this is awesome. We have those login things, like you see them on every page. So this is like real world example. And we even have here a file input. So this is awesome. So the next thing is checkbox, radio and switch, so checkbox related stuff, and we have those fancy to-do items I see here, I love them. And this is something you see very often, like things like that, or things like that where you need to see cite the days, for example, for a to-do app or something like that. Or these reviews, and I love this one. Oh, I love this one. This is working so great. So for example, if I click the upper one everything gets selected. If I click just mountains, and the upper one gets selected with not a tick, but just a simple line to say, okay, something is ticked inside of me, but not everything. So if I click this, those two get ticked. So there is actually logic inside of here, which is working very great. And the last thing is the select one. And this is actually came out today. I was just recording and then they updated it. So yeah, this is probably the first video you see out there presenting those select components. And I really take a first look now. We have time zone select with option groups. Oh, this is cool. So you can select groups here. Oh, we have options with portrait. This is very cool to select, for example, a person which has to do something, maybe a notion or something like that, or if you're commenting stuff. Oh, then you have, this one is crazy, list box with option groups, now built with React Aria again. And here we can select multiple ones, and we have those subgroups. And let me tell you, this is awesome. We can't discuss it. This is awesome. And this is actually more awesome than Shadcn because we have so many variants here. Look at this, select with overlapping label. That looks so cool. The same as we saw with the text box. And there's even more coming. So there's this slider available soon. So they are really working on this. These are the two dudes. Thank you very much for your work here. And then we even have some utilities, Tailwind CSS easing classes. So we can specify a duration. And then we have just for copy and paste classes for Tailwind to get some scale, rotate or translate animations. But if you want to see more about Tailwind animations, because there is more and there is a very good library, and I talked about it in a video that you can click up here. Thank you for watching this one. Use these components because they change your application, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.